The late afternoon sky had already darkened to a bruised purple when Dr. Maya Torres scrambled down the eroded sand dunes of Windward Point, her boots sinking into whirlpools of wet sediment. A nor'easter had exploded over the coast within hours, whipping the ocean into a tower of thunderous waves. Gusts of salt-laden wind tore at her rain jacket, slapping her face with stinging spray as she raced toward the inlet where her small research station hunkered behind a natural rock barrier. Lightning forked across the sky, illuminating the chaos on the beach below: flotsam, plastic crates, tangled fishing nets, half-buried driftwood tossed by waves that pounded the shoreline like sledgehammers. Maya's pulse hammered as she spotted a dark shape amid the debris: an enormous loggerhead turtle, its shell cracked and scarred, stranded well above the high tide line. Nylon nets, knotted and slippery with seaweed, had wound around its front flippers, pulling it half buried in sand and struggling to breathe. Without hesitation, Maya dropped her gear bag and waded through chest-high surf, each wave threatening to knock her off her feet. The turtle's head bobbed with each labored breath, its glassy eyes flicked toward her in panic. She crouched beside it, water sluicing over her legs, and worked quickly to secure its neck with her jacket sleeves so it wouldn't thrash. Rain pelted her back as she found the tangled nets, her gloved fingers numb as they traced each fiber. A massive cresting wave loomed, ready to wash both turtle and rescuer back toward the breakers. Maya pressed her palm flat against a length of driftwood wedged in a sand gully and wrenched with all her strength, leveraging the wood beneath the net. With a harsh snap, the fibers torn free, and she yanked them away just as the wave broke over them in a wall of foamy white. Clinging to the rock-hard carapace, she pried up the turtle's flipper, freeing it from the last loop of monofilament. Exhausted but determined, Maya guided the stunned creature into calmer shallows. The surf roiled around them, but the turtle, once upright, tucked its head and paddled slowly forward. Maya's boots were slick with algae and grit as she supported its weight, repeating a soft encouragement: "Almost there, you can make it." Behind her, the wind-raked dunes blurred into darkness, but before her, the turtle's struggle ignited a fierce resolve. Whatever it took, she would see this giant safely back to the sea. Maya's arms trembled under the loggerhead's weight, the sea turtle's mottled carapace slick with seawater and sand. She dragged it, net-free but dangerously weakened, from the pounding surf onto the rocky cove behind her station. Now, with one last heave, she vaulted the turtle onto a battered beach dolly, its rubber wheels groaning under the sudden load, and wrestled it over slick stones toward the warmth of her makeshift treatment tank. Rain hissed against the corrugated metal roof as she struggled to steer, the wind gusting so fiercely it nearly wrenched the turtle from its cradle. 5 minutes felt like an hour as she navigated roots and boulders, each jolt sending pain through the turtle's flippers. At last she reached the sheltering alcove of the station's rear entrance. Colleagues appeared in the doorway: Carlos with a stack of heat lamps, Priya clutching blankets, and 2 undergraduates armed with towels and hot saline bags. Inside, Maya guided the turtle into the shallow tank, its water level barely covering the creature's belly. She peeled off her soaked gloves and pulled on a fresh pair, then reached for a warmed 4 bag of saline solution. With a practiced hand she inserted the catheter into the turtle's front flipper vein, watching the fluid drip in. Each measured milliliter was a step away from dehydration. The turtle's chest flared in exhausted breaths, and Maya tilted its head to one side, gently suctioning salt water from its throat with a soft bulb syringe. Priya adjusted a bank of heat lamps overhead, bathing the turtle in a gentle glow that coaxed its core temperature upward. Maya pressed her stethoscope against the shell's plastron, counting heartbeats as they ticked on the monitor: 80 beats per minute, faint but steady. She massaged each flipper in long, circular strokes to restore circulation, kneading the muscles until they warmed under her touch. Carlos draped a thick wool blanket over the turtle's rear end to trap heat and covered its eyes with a damp cloth to reduce stress. Outside, the clock hands crept toward midnight. Every ping of the oxygen sensor and every slight rise in the turtle's body temperature rang in Maya's ears like victory bells. At 11:47 p.m., she noted on her chart: temp 22 degrees Celsius, 24 degrees Celsius, heart 80-88 BPM. A flicker of movement, its head lifted an inch, was the first sign that life was fighting back. Maya exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. As the others settled in to maintain the vigil, she allowed herself a tight smile. Against the storm, against the darkness and the cold, they were winning the race to save this great survivor of the SEA.BY dawn's light. The storm had retreated beyond the horizon, but its fury lingered in the slick floors and splintered wood of Maya's sea station. In the cramped lab tucked against the rocky cove, she and her team set about transforming the station's aft holding tank into a makeshift intensive care unit. The tank itself was a repurposed shipping container sliced in half and lined with marine-grade epoxy, its seawater inlet connected to a flood pump that filtered and recirculated water every 10 minutes. Maya adjusted the digital thermostat, raising the water temperature from a frigid 16 degrees Celsius left over from the storm to a steady 26 degrees Celsius, matching the loggerhead's native tropical range. She monitored the salinity gauge, 35 ppt exactly, no margin for error. A rack of heat lamps swung overhead, their infrared bulbs humming as they cast a soft orange glow across the turtle's mottled shell. Carlos, her research assistant, recorded every parameter in meticulous detail on the station's weatherproof log sheet, 0700 HRS, temp 26 degrees Celsius, cell 35 ppt, O2 sat 95%. Next came the medications. Maya measured out a dose of broad-spectrum antibiotic enough to stave off infection from saltwater abrasions and delivered it via a gentle injection into the turtle's rear flipper muscle. The turtle flinched at the pinch but held still, trusting voices murmuring its name, "Easy now, big one, we're with you." Priya, the station's marine veterinarian, flushed the turtle's nasal passages with sterile saline to clear residual sand and surf debris, her hands steady despite the tight hours since the rescue. Through the morning, Maya rotated duties. One of the undergraduates monitored the water's pH and ammonia levels, while another brewed a slurry of blended shrimp and squid, high-protein fare to tempt the turtle's recovering appetite. For nearly 2 days, the turtle refused to eat. Its once powerful flippers lay motionless, and it would not lift its head for the food. Maya sat by the tank at night, soft voice echoing in the lab, coaxing the turtle, "It's okay, you're safe here, just a nibble." On the third evening, the turtle's curiosity won. It nudged the food dish, then tasted the slurry with a slow, deliberate chew, proof that healing had begun. Each night, Maya and Carlos took turns charting vital signs, heart rate slowly climbing from 88 to 100 beats per minute, respiratory rate easing from labored 18 breaths per minute to a steady 12. The scoured abrasions on its shell darkened, forming new scuts, scar tissue sealing wound edges. Priya administered a second round of antibiotics, while Maya massaged the turtle's flippers in long, gentle strokes, feeling the first flush of muscle resistance beneath her gloved fingers. Outside the circular porthole window, the sea chattered against the rocks, but inside the lab, time passed by the turtle's rhythms. When the flood pump's alarm blared at midday, signaling a drop in oxygen, everyone sprang into action, augmenting aeration stones, adjusting flow rates until the gauge steadied. Carlos leaned close to the tank, whispering, "That's it, we've got you, buddy." And just before midnight on the fourth day, the turtle pushed against a tethered buoy. Maya had fashioned a buoy that bobbed when the turtle flexed its plastron, a hopeful sign of strength returning. By the end of the week, the turtle's shell had lost its dull, sandy sheen and gleamed wetly in the heat lamp glow. It began to swim in gentle loops around the tank, flippers arcing with renewed power. Maya, exhausted but exhilarated, pressed her palm to the glass. "You did it." The team gathered for a photograph, Maya beside the tank, Priya holding the turtle's head stationarily for a clear shot, and Carlos beaming as he uploaded the first rehabilitation images to the station's social feed. In those crowded days, the lines between human and animal caregiver blurred. Maya saw in the turtle's steady gaze the same fierce will that drove her own research, a fight for survival against impossible odds. And as the turtle paddled in even circles, its dark eyes shining with a steady intelligence, Maya knew their mission had matured from rescue to true recovery, a testament to the power of compassion, science, and unyielding hope. A night settled over the cove like a silken shroud, the storm's fury replaced by a hushed stillness broken only by the quiet lap of water against the tank's edge. Maya slipped into her waterproof boots and padded down the narrow wooden dock, moonlight dancing across the rippled surface in shifting silver patterns. Carlos followed with a bucket of thawed shrimp slurry, its sweet, briny aroma trailing behind him. Priya trailed close, carrying a small spotlight to guide their steps over slick planks. At the end of the dock, the turtle, nicknamed Aurora for her mottled carapace that shimmered like the northern lights, waited patiently in her shallow recovery pool. The moon, nearly full, arced overhead in a cloudless sky, its pale glow illuminating the tank from above. A hush fell as Maya climbed onto the low platform beside Aurora's tank, kneeling to meet the creature eye to eye. She whispered, "Hey, girl, ready for dinner?" The turtle lifted her head, nostrils flaring once, as if in greeting. Maya dipped a handful of shrimp slurry into a shallow dish and set it on the platform's edge.
Aurora extended a trembling flipper, toes flexing, then nudged the bowl with gentle determination.
Each bite was a triumph, soft flesh slipping between her beak-like jaw, while Maya stroked the shell's edge in slow, circular motions. The sound of each small clamp and swallow echoed in the night air, mingling with Maya's soft humming of an old lullaby her mother used to sing when she herself was a child. As Aurora fed, Maya spoke aloud of her dreams, the day she first glimpsed sea turtles hatchling on a distant beach, the countless nights spent studying their migration patterns, and the urgent need to protect their fragile ecosystems. The turtle paused mid-bite and fixed Maya with a steady gaze, dark eyes reflecting the moonlight.
In that moment, time stretched thinner than the membrane between worlds, human and animal, scientist and survivor, teacher and student.
Behind them, bioluminescent plankton pulsed in the shallow shallows, little motes of emerald light swirling in the water like living stars. When Aurora slid her head beneath the surface, she stirred the plankton into a luminescent swirl that painted her belly in ghostly green.
Maya gasped softly.
"Look at you," she whispered, breath hitching.
"You're magic." Priya snapped photographs to document the phenomenon, while Carlos recorded every detail in the night's log. Yet Maya barely noticed.
She felt, in her bones, that this was a sacred exchange, a quiet communion beneath the moon that transcended the boundaries of species. As Aurora finished the last of the meal, she rested her head against the tank's rim and exhaled in contentment, eyes half closed. Maya reached through the water and traced a finger along Aurora's plastron, feeling the smooth warmth of the newly healed shell. "We've both survived storms, big one," she murmured, voice thick with emotion.
"And now we'll face calmer seas together."
Above them, the moon sailed high, a silent witness to a bond forged in crisis and sealed under its watchful glow. Before first light, Maya crept softly through the half-dark of the station's dock, her breath misting in the cool salt air.
The horizon glowed with a pale promise of dawn, lavender where sky met sea, and the waves lapped in gentle applause against the pilings.
Aurora, now fully alert and gliding strong in her recovery tank, raised her head as Maya approached.
Her dark eyes blinked once in recognition, as if asking, "Is it time?" With practiced care, Maya and Carlos guided the turtle onto a padded stretcher lined with damp towels.
Each flipper was supported by soft foam blocks to prevent strain, and Priya's final checks confirmed Aurora's vital signs were stable and strong. Outside, a small convoy of fishermen, local volunteers, and a wildlife patrol boat waited quietly on the water's edge, an unspoken tribute to the months of effort that had led to this moment. As the sky brightened to pearly gray, Maya lifted one corner of the stretcher and, together with 3 burly fishermen, carried Aurora down the sloping stones to the foam-tipped surf. The turtle's shell glinted wetly in the dawnlight, flecked with the first sunbeams of the new day. A hush fell over the onlookers as Maya knelt at the water's edge, heart pounding. "Thank you, brave girl," she murmured, voice soft enough only for Aurora to hear. Gently, she tipped the stretcher so Aurora's chest met the cool caress of the ocean.
For a tense heartbeat, the turtle's flippers paddled in place, testing the embrace of salt water after weeks of captivity.
Then, with a slow, powerful kick, she propelled herself forward. Aurora's carapace broke the glassy surface as she found the deeper channel. Waves curled at her sides, sunlight fracturing into rainbows across her shell. Maya watched, tears pricking her eyes, as the turtle gained confidence stroke by stroke until she was a dark silhouette against the brightening sea. Behind Maya, volunteers cheered quietly, hats raised in salute. Carlos snapped photographs to capture Aurora's first free swim, while Priya offered Maya a warm embrace.
"She's home," Priya whispered, and Maya nodded, throat tight. Aurora paused one final time at the edge of the breakers, lifting her head as though to glance back. In that instant, Maya felt the full weight of every sleepless night, every racing heartbeat in the lab, and every moment of doubt melt into joy. The turtle's wise, tranquil gaze met hers briefly, and then Aurora slipped beneath the waves, vanishing into the vast blue. Maya remained on the shore long after the convoy departed, watching ripples fade into open water. As the sun rose fully, gilding the horizon, she turned toward the station with renewed purpose. Aurora's journey had come full circle, and Maya carried with her the knowledge that one life saved could inspire countless others to believe in the power of hope, compassion, and the promise of a new dawn.